What's up? Is this an NFT? I I don't do anything that's not an NFT now. I want to be an NFT. That is my right. Yeah. I've been non-fungible my entire life, according to women. That is your ah.
Why? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Now sound, 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 sound. You can hear me now. Now I know you can hear me. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's coming from Veer's side. So now we're good. Yep, okay. All good. All okay now. We are fantastic. For some reason I muted just myself. Yes, Veer Das is here. Noted comedian and NFT Veer Das
I'm
has
now an
joined us.
NFT, guys. I'm
You are now.
non-fungible. I've gone from being non-fuckable to non-fungible. This is my journey as a.
So
As an
it's a good update. I mean, at least this way there's only 30% tax on you now.
oh, is that they've taxed NFTs today?
So it's not clear in the wording of the bill yet, but they've just said digital assets. So what do I know?
Man.
What do I know? They just got
The minute there's a party that lasts that long, they're like, "Arey, 8 second ho gaya party ka? Chalo, let's come in there."
immediately right there on
Yeah.
the spot. So first of all, congratulations on the Kennedy Center honors, man.
Oh, thank you, man.
Talk
I'm
me
so
through
happy
what
you
it's
said-
about.
I'm so happy you said honors instead of performance because that.
I'll come to that later. Congrats on that as well. But what do the Kennedy Center honors entail exactly? I'm very curious about.
So I think it's just for artists who they believe are cultural leaders, and it means I'll have to do some panels, and it means um, I'm part of a panel who is like way more badass than I am.
Okay,
There are
nice.
people who run NGOs and like classical schools and actors and all of that stuff, and I went up and I'm like, and that's why I'm there apparently. So,
That's very, very cool, man. That's all. That's too much, too good. But and I want to go back all the way to the start. All right,
Oh, God.
because no, I want to go back to the start because see, there are things that having known you for a while, I know things that I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't. And so I want to ask them in question format, which is when you originally went to college, like I'm talking college, you didn't
Huh.
even actually go to study theater or comedy, did you?
no, I went to study economics.
And then what happened?
And then I had a teacher called Ivan Davidson, and I did one beginning acting class just on a lark, right? And I feel like Indians in general, we are better prepared for like beginning acting than Americans are at any point in their life because हम मतलब 10 साल melodrama देख के करके आते हैं स्कूल के अंदर, so then they were like ये तो बड़ा अच्छा है, इसको acting आता है, and then Ivan Davidson called me into his office and he was like, I say this to one kid every 10 years, you're meant to be a performer. So shut up and take every course that I tell you to take, and I'll make an actor out of you.
Wouldn't it be wild if that's just a prank he pulls every 10 years? Wouldn't that be wild if that was just like the most cruel prank in the world?
Or like that's his day. He's like, listen, I say this to one kid every 10 years. Listen, I say this to one kid every 10 years.
And then 6 other guys in your dorm was like, I haven't told you also?
Dude, it might, so I know this one story. I'm not going to take names and all of that stuff. And so there's an actor, right?
Huh,
And he's
huh.
going for an award ceremony in India, right? And they're like, sir, आप जीतने वाले हो, आप आ जाओ, attend कर लो. And he's like, I don't fucking trust you guys. तो तुम मेरे को WhatsApp भेजो और email भेजो कि मैं जीतने वाला हूँ.
Huh.
Okay, so this award ceremony sends him a WhatsApp and an email saying, "Sir, आप जीतने वाले." ठीक है? Then he goes to the award ceremony. He runs into all the 5 other nominees, and they're like, "Sir, आज मैं बड़ा confident feel हो रहा हूँ. मेरे को भी WhatsApp मिला है और email right? So they sent a WhatsApp and email to everybody, but one guy, and that guy fucking won and took it away.
Oh,
The guy
shit.
who lost had WhatsApp and email कि भैया आप जीतने वाले हो.
See, the other guy won on confidence,
Yeah.
basically. The 5th guy won on confidence because he didn't ask for this thing.
He won on tight ass because the other guys were old. It was not like hero.
Oh, got
category.
it. It was one of those. Got it.
So I think Ivan Davidson just did that with kids. He's like, "Tu actor banega, tu actor banega." Yeah, and then I didn't tell my parents for the first year.
Okay.
I was on scholarships and I had to maintain like a certain GPA to continue to study there because school was like $26,000 and we could afford 5.
Right.
So the 21,000 had to come from them. And then once I called my parents in my final year, I'm like, "Hey dad, sit down. I will be actor." And my father was like, "Fuck you. You will study economics." So then I finished an economics degree along with the theater degree.
Okay. Oh, nice. You did both.
Yeah.
Damn, that's hardcore. So
Yeah.
today's a good day for you. Budget day and
Yeah,
you should.
yeah, I totally understood everything she
Of course.
said, even
Of
if she
course.
didn't. But yeah.
Of course, absolutely. I'm going to go to some questions from the chat. Nexus wants to know, Mastizade 2 when?
Arey, every night is Mastizade 2. Because all the other cast members of Mastizade have left and it's just me. So I'm lonely comedian on the road and every night is Mastizade 2 without a camera. But
No man, your life, so after, weirdly enough, like after Mastizade, your life has just changed spectacularly, to be fair.
Yeah.
Right?
To be fair, yeah.
fair, it has changed spectacularly.
I mean, there's the biannual, like once every 2 years is what? Biannual? No.
I can never tell whether that, let's just say it is. Let's just say it is.
Okay. There's the biannual cancellation for something or the other.
I mean, of course. Of course.
But
you know.
Touchwood, Mastizade was little find yourself moment.
I mean, everybody needs one, right?
Yeah. You certainly have one as well.
Oh, I don't have no idea what you're talking about.
Yours is still sub judice, I believe.
Mine is still sub judice, but everything that there is to be found, cops, believe me, went deep and found. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. So you did all this theater, this, that, all of that. Could have had great career in America, etc. All of that. But then you came back.
Yeah.
And for some reason decided, let's make stand-up in India. Let's just create the category. Like, okay, and I'm not to take away from the fact that, like, obviously, Johnny Lever, Raju Srivastav, all of these people have been performing for a very long time. But let's admit it now, we've also talked about this, that's a different idiom in the sense that that's way more like sort of family-oriented event comedy. So I'm talking about like that sort of urban adult, like American, British style stand-up. And you decide new company you want to do this, and then what? Because I know you from around then, and you worked your ass off to make it happen. So I want to hear it in your words.
I mean, you know this as well as I do. Like, you can't tell if you're any good if you can't find like-minded people to tell you when you're bad.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, the essence of getting good at comedy is, can I make the other comics laugh? And then if you make the other comics laugh too much, then you're a shitty comic all over again. So that's a weird thing. But I was just like, okay, every single person who's doing comedy here, nobody's talking about the shit that I'm talking about. And we have the youngest population in the world. So let me just find some other people to collaborate with. If nothing else, so that I can measure myself against, like-minded people. And then I started doing like stuff at Habitat Center. Then I met Saurabh Pant. And Saurabh was my first opening act. The first time Saurabh Pant did stand-up comedy. I apologize if I'm outing Pant on this.
No, please do.
The first time Saurabh Pant did stand-up comedy, and fuck all of you new comics, because none of this is as hard as what he went through. He opened with 10 minutes in front of 900 people.
Oh, wow.
That was Saurabh's first time.
That is a baptism of fire. That's where all the hair went.
Yeah. And Saurabh is like, Veer, I have this baby joke. I'm going to do this baby joke. And that is the Pamela Anderson of babies or something like that. Some creepy early comedy baby joke, right?
Of course.
And I'm like, Saurabh, don't do the joke. Don't do the joke. Don't do the joke. Saurabh goes up and does the joke and then does 10 minutes in silence to 900 people. That's first time doing stand-up. But to his credit, like, did not sleep the whole night, had another show the next night at the Habitat Center, came back, and I don't want to say crushed it, but like didn't get silence.
But didn't get silence. 1 second.
Got a little more than silence.
That's a good start. Oh man, yeah. I remember that silence. Okay, when was the first time you dealt with that silence and went, oh fuck? Because I remember the first time I dealt with that silence and it's very scary. Like where I was with you only, we had some ham night in Delhi. You put me in front of a bunch of people, and my dumb Bombay ass went, I'm gonna get them with my Bombay charm, and then there was just silence. I will never forget. It was cold and it was quiet. Those are the two things I remember about that evening.
How I know that I think you know when you're bombing, when there's one bead of sweat that travels all the way down your back into your ass crack. Like the minute it hits your ass crack, you're like, yep, this is a terrible show.
Yep.
I did lots of times, dude. Like I once was doing a show for like some auto journalists in like a disco, and basically it's Auto Car India, and they were like, surprise act comedy after 9 drinks in a disco.
Of course.
So they put the music off and they're like, ladies and gentlemen, Veer Das. And I started doing stand-up, silence. And what you'll quickly discover when there's silence is that 45 minutes of material is actually 16 minutes of material.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely true.
17, I've run through all my material and now it's like, hey, is anyone single? Make some noise for...
So, Audis, huh?
Yeah. And then I hear, why are you doing this? Right?
Oh shit.
And it's some like drunk journalist, and she's like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, ma'am, I've been hired for today. She's like, no, I meant in general.
Oh.
Which is such a piercing thing to fucking say. That's my worst bomb.
Okay, that sounds pretty fucking horrible. And then you somehow still kept going. I'm gonna read another couple of questions from the super chat. Any new special coming up? Eagerly waiting for it. It's okay, Kamchor bhai. If he doesn't have one coming up, give him 4 days और एक आ जाएगा कहीं से तो because hardest working guy. हाँ, 4 हो गया मतलब. What are you writing? What are you writing? What are you working on now?
New show to take on tour with me.
Okay.
And it's got a lot of kind of what's happening in life right now on it as well.
Okay.
But I kind of want to, now wait, I kind of want to spend a year with this show on the road and then see if it turns into something. Because I think now, like an hour of material is no longer a special. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, I mean the game's changed, obviously.
The game's changed. Like
The
an
game's
hour
changed.
of material now has to have dynamics. It's got to feel like a movie. You know, at least not in terms of production value, but in terms of how it makes you feel. It's got to mix up.
It's got to
how
have
it
a
makes you
narrative and a
yeah, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you look at like a Bo Burnham's Inside, or if you look like you know, so I don't have that narrative just yet. I just have a touring show.
right. Okay.
We'll see.
So you mentioned Bo Burnham's Insights. I'm going to take off into another thing about like you that's always been interesting to me is you're always sort of pushing yourself in the sense that even now that you sort of reach this point where you have a certain level of popularity, stardom, etc., all of that, you're always pushing yourself. You're one of the most disciplined workers that I know. And one of the things I love about you is you have very little ego about your work in comparison to other people's work. Like you, out of all, and this is, you guys might not believe this, but out of all the comics I know, senior, junior, this, that, whatever, Veer is still one of the first people who'll message me and be like, yo, did you watch Bo Burnham? What the fuck? How are we supposed to be on the same planet as this guy? Etc. All of that. So how do you sort of balance that being able to have sort of enough of not an ego about it, but still sort of pushing yourself? Because you're one of the few people I know who right from day one has been like, I don't want to be, this is not about being India's biggest stand-up comic. This is about being on the same stage as any other comic in the world and being as good. So how do you fucking do that? Because that takes insane focus.
Well, I mean, I think a healthy amount of imposter syndrome is a damn good thing in terms of watching a lot of artists that inspire you and piss you off and scare the shit out of you, but also a healthy deal of like healthy dose of self-loathing is is a good thing to carry
Of course,
around,
very much so. Very much so.
across the world. But like I don't know, like I'm really good at like forgetting what I did yesterday.
Okay.
For some reason, that's my personality, right? So I don't remember the first special.
Okay.
And I don't remember the second special. I don't remember any of the bits. I don't remember any of that stuff. So just by virtue of like having really short-term memory loss, I'm just like, oh fuck, all I have is today and this feels like it's new and I'm starting over, so I must go today. You know? So, you know, legacy is a big trap in terms of like any profession. Legacy is a big trap. And I hate specials, like it's the comic's 5th special and it feels like a reaction to the 4th special.
Yeah.
It feels like hey, remember that cool tag from my 4th special?
It's okay. It's okay. You can say Dave Chappelle, Veer. It's fine.
Yeah, right. Right? But you know,
can-
Chappelle's new special felt like a reaction to the last
You're
special.
right. You're right. You're
know?
absolutely right. Yeah.
And then I'm like, but what if people are just discovering you? What if people think you're new, etc.? So I just prefer to feel like I just started over, you know, every day.
That's freaking awesome, man. Okay, I have a super chat here. Somebody asking. Abhishek wants to know, who was the stand-up comic you mentioned on the Whitney Cummings podcast who was surprised at how much you killed?
I don't want to say.
Okay, fair,
I'm
fair,
a big
fair.
fan.
Okay, fair.
And he's like comic.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
fair.
So like if he was just like a famous comic, I'd be like, fuck it, that guy said, etc., etc.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
this is
yeah.
like one of the 3 comics that all comics are like, I want to be that guy.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
That's very, very cool, man. Another question, which is the director that you loved working with, out of all the directors. And I mean, you can't get out like everyone's amazing, etc. But
Like Raj and DK, dude, on Go Go Gone. They have like a, you know, they have a madness that has infected everything that they've ever done. You know, and
it's true.
and it's like sometimes directors, as they get bigger and the budgets get bigger and you know just stars become available, etc., that madness goes.
Correct.
You like I think a Wes Anderson is a really good example of just preserving madness.
Yeah,
And then
true.
you have to fit into the madness of him.
Sure.
Like Go Gone has the same madness as Family Man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And as their budgets have gotten gigantic, like they've managed to do that. And then I just did Judd Apatow's new movies. So like that was
Just drop that in cash.
yeah.
Just drop
So
that in cash. That's great.
yeah, I mean Judd Apatow's new movie, and that was like at age after 10 years in the industry, like going to comedy school all
Fuck,
over
I can
again.
imagine, man.
He's amazing.
I can well imagine. What was that like? Tell us
He's
more. As much as
improvised,
you
man.
can.
Like he's like it's. I auditioned for something else in the movie, didn't get it, and then one day they were like, Judd wants to talk to you on a Zoom call, and you know it's Judd Apatow,
Yeah.
so like if he
You know,
wants
Judd,
to talk
does
to
he
me,
does he have another friend named Judd who's I'm going to be talking to?
I'm
It's
like, if he wants to talk on Morse code, I will learn Morse code like overnight, and like with Judd Apatow, and he's like, hey man, I think you're funny, come to London, be in this movie, and we'll improvise what you do.
That's
We'll
awesome.
improvise a role. And so like this movie has like Karen Gillan from the Avengers, like David Duchovny. It has his wife. It has Keegan Michael Key. It has Fred Armisen from Saturday Night Live.
That's the All Stars, man. Welcome to
That's-
the
yeah.
All Stars.
It has Pedro Pascal from like Narcos and this thing, and then Maria Bakalova from Borat. And,
Yeah. That's fucking wild.
so then you're just like, oh shit, this is the Olympics. You know what I mean? So then and they're all improving and they're all amazing. So you have to do that thing where you're like, fuck, stop watching him in the scene and like get in the scene and like bring some A game of yours, you know. But to have that many stars and make sure they're all funny for different reasons
Yeah.
and all feel comfortable enough to improvise and create that many unique characters out of thin air, genius.
Speaking of amazing characters out of thin air, there's Mastizade, which is fine. No.
No,
Hang on. There's a
Judd
second part.
Apatow too.
There's a second part to this. It's my point. There's a
All
second
right.
part to this, right? There's Mastizade, and sure, there's like all the shit you get from Mastizade, but there's Go Gone, and
Yeah.
then there's fucking Delhi Belly, which
Yeah.
is of course epic. So how did Aurup happen? This is also a question somebody asked on Instagram. How did Aurup happen?
It's a cool story. I auditioned, gave 9 auditions for Delhi Belly. So in that
Okay.
year of my life, I was auditioning for Delhi Belly, 3 Idiots, and Rock On.
Okay.
All 3 movies.
Okay.
Um,
Delhi Belly, 3 Idiots, and Rock On, and any one
Rock
of them
On.
would have been a great part to get. So
Yeah, and they all shot at the same fucking time.
Oh,
so
shit.
yeah, that's the. But I was auditioning for Madhavan's role in 3 Idiots, what Madhavan ended up getting. And when I started auditioning for 3 Idiots, it wasn't Amir. It was, I think it was Shah Rukh, or it was somebody else, and
Right.
then it changed over that year. Rock On, I was auditioning for Purab's role, and then Delhi Belly, they just started auditioning me, and they started auditioning me for Imran's role.
Okay.
But then Imran wasn't in their mind, so they were trying different permutations and combinations. One of the auditions was me, Gaurav Kapoor, and Cyrus Brocha. Right? So, me in Imran's role, Gaurav Kapoor in my role, and Cyrus Brocha and Kunal Roy Kapoor's role.
dude, that
And it was
not
like-
one sentence would have been finished in that movie by
It
one
was
person.
like 3 mosquitoes on crack. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, it was like,
Oh my god.
and then Imran became Imran because Janetu had come out. And then we did like one audition with like me, Imran, and Roy Kapoor. And I was just like, if I don't fucking get this, I know these 2 guys are getting it.
Okay,
That perfect. And then it was the 3 of us, yeah.
that's awesome. That's very, very.
But that was like the 9th audition. And by the way, like Imran's 6th audition. Imran, being Amir's nephew, auditioned like 6 times for that thing.
Oh really?
Yeah, man.
That's quite impressive. Okay, one more super chat question. When comedy writing involves finding humor in every mess situation, so when you feel low and depressed, how do you overcome that phase and find humor in it? A second part to that is I feel like I read an Outlook interview of you once who said that a comedian is actually a person who realizes that the world is a very sad place. So do those two sort of this thing?
Yeah, I think for me, at least I'm at the point where, like, even today, like, I popped into the Habitat and I was talking about the controversy and this and that, etc., etc. I think if you just find common ground with an audience, they're kind of like your therapist, you know?
Yeah,
As long
yeah.
as you're hitting a laugh every so often, you can kind of be like, I had a shit day today. And a comedy club's perhaps the only work atmosphere where you get to say that more than once and talk about it for half an hour. And it'll better your work performance.
Sure.
You know, So yeah, that was tonight. I was just like, it's been stressful 2 months. It's been this, it's been that, and the audience is in any case thinking of that when you come out on stage, when you've been through something. So for me, it's just like at this point, I'm like full disclosure at all
Sure.
times with an audience. So in that, it works, I think. And then I don't know, like I mean, we've spoken about the minimalism thing, what pretentious rich person's minimalism that I'm doing or whatever,
Soho
right?
House minimalism.
Soho House
Soho House
minimalism.
minimalism. Soho House
But
minimalism. But
at least the lightness of like getting shit of everything I owned in the last 10 years, that helped
Okay.
tremendous amounts in the pandemic. Like I'm doing a world tour without check-in luggage.
That's crazy. Tell me a little. Let's actually spend some time. Tell me a little bit more about how the minimal. Because also again, in the time that I've known you,
Yeah.
the one thing that I know is at least like when we first met, I know that you like things.
I do like things, yeah, or
Exactly.
did like
You like things. Exactly. You did like things. So
Yeah.
how'd the minimalism thing happen, and how's that going? And like you said, how did you said it helped a lot in the pandemic? So I'm very curious as to how it's affected your state of mind.
I mean, at some point, like I was like, I have this house in Bombay, and there are 17 guitars in it, and there are like 150 hats, and there are books and vinyls, and 10 years of clothing, and I have not grown in 10 years, you know. So everything still fucking fits, and at some point in the pandemic, comedy was taken away from me. My dog Watson was ill, so we had to move to Goa. Goa, you're sitting on like cane furniture. None of your stuff is there. Because we could only take 2 suitcases with us, we gave the suitcases to Watson and his things. So I went with like 5 pieces of clothing, etc. And then I spent 6 months away from Bombay and away from everything that I owned. And my head changed. You know, life got better. Like I was thinking lighter. And then when you come back to that room, and I came back after a year, and your study full of your shit, all the stuff you built for 10 years, I was just like, so none of this is going to help me be a better comedian, right? None of this is going to make me a better artist. Really, none of this contributes in any way to the growth that I now want to achieve. And maybe it's not a question of like possessions, but finding pure intention, saying, I want to do this in the next 10 years of my life. And really, what helps that will stay, and what doesn't help that is out, instantly out. So it's just that. It's just like, okay, none of this will make me a better comic. It will no longer matter how I dress when I walk into a comedy club or a corporate show. The Bollywood game, if I'm ever at a film party and I'm wearing a black t-shirt and just some jeans, I promise you, being the person who doesn't give a fuck about that party makes you have the best conversations at that party, rather than the person who's decked out and trying too hard. And I'm privileged, and I've been in the industry for a while, so if I ever need cool clothes, they show up, you know, they're stylists, etc. But I literally gave away everything I owned for 10 years. And then when Watson passed, we just found like dog charities, and everything I owned just went in a sale, and it went to dog charities. So now I don't own that much, and I'm just kind of free. You know?
That's kind of wild. That's kind of very, very. I think Abdul Sami, just curious to know why he wears hat. I mean, I don't know. I guess he likes wearing hats.
But as long as you've known me, I've liked wearing hats. And
as
then
long it's true. It's
I
not
have
a new
hair
thing
that's
at all.
hard to do. It's like
Yeah,
a lot of hair, and it's damn hard to do. So I just wear hats.
Veer has worn hats as long as I've known him. Here's the question: how does Veer keep being Veer after any controversy or anything? Because you do. It's all water off your fucking back. How do you do it?
It's not though, man. Of course, it takes a toll. You know,
Okay.
I think none of us is going to be like, yeah, fuck it, man. I was
Yeah, we're not dank. We're not
terrorist."
dank. We're not dank. We're not anarchists.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing, like I remember when the Kennedy Center thing happened, etc., etc., and I'm writing about it right now, and I don't have a perspective that's great yet. You know, like I've written 3 separate 10-minute routines about the Kennedy Center, right? And the first one was very like reactionary, right? It was very defensive and reactionary. So
Yeah.
I can't use this. Um,
Expression is my birthright and I shall have it.
Yeah, fucking, you know, rage against the machine that could squash you.
Oh man. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I can't do that. And then I'm like, the one thing that everybody seems to want to know is, why'd you do it? Right? And the correct answer is, I woke up in the morning, the show was sold out. I wrote some shit at 7:30. I went to my wife and I'm like, well, should I do this? And she was like, yeah, do it. What'll happen?
Well, what a great question.
And I did it. And that's how much thought went into it, because all the commentary around it is he knew, he orchestrated it.
Yeah, it's
I knew nothing.
man,
I just felt something and articulated it, right?
this has this happened to you, like where this happens, right? It's happened with a lot of AIB shit also, where it's like they ascribe motivation to you where you're reading it. Sometimes you're like, man, if you knew how fucking fly by night seat of the pants my life
Yeah.
is, buddy. Like if you knew how it's being held together by duct tape and hope.
Guys, the paper's in my hand because I don't remember it. Like literally, farra haath mein, you know what I mean? And it's not like a well-designed piece or anything like that. But I mean, now I'm just kind of trying to write about, okay, why did I do it? Like, why did I feel like I could do it?
Okay.
You know? So that's a fair thing to write about. Like, and then I just wrote a bit. I'm like, I think I did it because I'm short. You know, like, short guys are like, I must talk about things larger than me, and everything is larger than me. So maybe that's why I did it. But I don't have a thing yet. But now, whenever some shit goes wrong, I just tell myself it'll eventually be 10 minutes of stand up.
Yeah, fair.
Whatever it is, it'll be 10 minutes of stand up eventually. That's my defense mechanism, at least.
No, that makes complete sense because I feel like you will sort of go into a shell for a few days and then you realize the world is larger than a Twitter storm, and then slowly, it takes a while. I mean, I imagine it's quite like scary.
And it, like a tap, somebody turns it on and somebody turns it off, and then it's somebody else's moment in the sun.
Correct.
You know?
Correct.
So you just got to ride it out till then.
That's absolutely true. Sorry, I'm just looking at
No worries.
other questions. Just wanted to know what your views on the future comedy scene in India this decade. Will there be shows like Seinfeld ever? I feel like those are two separate questions.
I mean,
but yeah.
yeah, it's. I mean, I just saw like 5 comics at the Habitat right now that I had never seen before, and each one of them was like fucking, for the amount of years that they were in comedy, better than we were for that many years in comedy. That's
Oh,
for
for
damn
sure. Oh, for sure. The average starting comic now is way better.
Yeah, like a 2 years in, 3 years in guy or
Yeah.
girl is tremendous right now.
Yeah, agreed.
Right? Because I think when we were doing it, everybody's like, I'll do 30 minutes. I'll do 35 minutes. But now 6-minute assassin spot is culture. And I think that's great. There be shows like Seinfeld. There've been 10 Indian versions of Seinfeld, haven't there?
Yeah. There's been 10 versions that have tried everything. I feel like we've moved past the Seinfeld thing in general, like in life.
I mean,
Like,
wasn't Decoupled kind of Seinfeld-ish, or was that not Seinfeld-ish?
it was a little more like Californication-ish, little bit more, but yeah.
Just Madhavan having a lot of sex and
Just Madhavan basically being very angry about sex, like
Okay.
being very angry about sex.
Right.
A lot. Anshuman Mishra, no question, but just says Veer and Zakir have the capability not just make us laugh, but also I connect with your content emotionally. Saw you once at Bangalore airport long back. Himmat nahi hui jaake milne ki. So yeah.
I'm usually good about people this thing. Although, dude, I was just in a lift and I had like major Karen energy with some people.
Really?
Yeah, dude. And I'm still feeling bad, but like I was in the lift.
Okay.
You tell me if this is fair, all right?
Okay.
There's a
Chat will
sign-
tell us. Yeah.
There's a sign on the lift that
Yeah.
says 2 people per lift.
Yes.
All right. There's a sign on the lift that says wear a mask. All right. I get in. I'm the one person in the lift. We get up. 3 girls, 4 guys are like, no, we'll fit without masks on.
Oh, fuck off, dude.
Right? And so at some point they're like, sorry, we're not wearing masks. And like in my best polite thing from behind my mask, I'm like, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Right? So then they're like, oh, sorry. And the guys are like trying to get in and out. They're like, no. 4 of you go. Like, Benchot, 4 is better than.
Yeah. Like 4 Corona, way better than 7 Corona. Like.
And then I was like, guys, I kind of have a floor and a thing to get to. And then they just, they were all older than me, but they all just kind of, like, sulking children went up. And then I went like out of the lift and I just felt like such a Karen. You know what I mean? I just felt
No,
like.
dude, fuck that. You have to wear a mask in the lift. That's bullshit. Guys,
Right?
was Veer a Karen? I don't think Veer was a Karen at all. I don't think Veer was a Karen at all. What do you guys think? Say this. Do you think? I don't think he was a Karen at all. Thank you for your super chats, people. Veer's definitely someone with a strong legal team. Sure, maybe he is. Everybody smash the like button. There's 3,000 people watching but 1,600 likes. That's horrible and completely shameful. Here's a question from AR. Oh, it's a good one. Because I've actually seen
Wait,
you do.
before I want to please smash the like button. But this is something I've seen like a lot of whatever YouTube people. They're like, अभी मेरे को 1 million likes से कम नहीं चलेगा इसमें.
Yeah. No. I don't have the confidence to be all like, I want a minimum floor. It's like, I'm just like, hey, please give.
Like, what's your number?
My number right now is I'll be happy with 2,000, dude. 1 million. No, I'm looking at this right now. 2,000. I'll be like, what a great day.
Like, who's watching it? Someone. Was it Tanmay or was it like?
Like Ashish Chastani and all can be like, I won't release my next video till like 400,000 likes, and I'll be like, yo, I'd just be sitting here for like 10 years with this video in my hand waiting. Like, when will I release this?
And I'm like egotistical enough as this. I'd be like, नहीं like करता मैं इंचुत. फिर तू मत डाल like.
तू like भी कर, मैं नहीं डालेगा वीडियो.
Yeah. But I've seen that. I'm like, मेरे को इससे कम नहीं चलेगा.
Yeah, नहीं मेरे को I just want to point out मेरे को चलेगा, मेरे को मस्त चलेगा. जितना भी आपको देना है आप दो. No problem at all. What is the one thing you do ritually before going on stage, whether it's an arena or a comedy club? Looking forward to the Royal Oak show. Hoot hoot.
I vocal warm up. It is very lame, but it is me standing in a bathroom going me ma me ma me ma me and like doing like a 8-minute warm up, because when I was 35 I lost my voice.
Okay.
And that is the scariest fucking thing a comedian or a musician can go through. And I had nodules on my vocal cords.
Right.
And the doctor was like, you've basically been screaming for a decade.
Sounds
you don't know how to use your voice.
Sounds about right.
And because like my shows, I'm not doing an hour, I'm doing like 95 minutes, right? So it's a long show. So now I do like a 8-minute vocal warm up, and then I get off stage, and then I do a 6-minute vocal cool down. So it's very much like 5,000
So rockstar. It's so rockstar.
Right? Thank you so much. Good night.
Yeah.
Me ma, like alone in a room. It's so sad. But like that's life right now.
That does happen. I'm now looking at wow, Sapan Verma has spammed the questions. Okay. Sapan Verma has great questions. If Kavi is Kavi, then why he do
Sapan
comedy
Verma,
and
tall, handsome Sapan
yes, tall,
Verma.
handsome Dashil Safari with the super soldier serum Sapan Verma. All right. Why did you dump Saurabh?
Right. Dump Saurabh. Ek to dude, fucking Saurabh used to work with me when he was 24, and at 24 he had hip issues. Like
This is
Saurabh,
true. This is true.
Saurabh
Can
is
confirm.
the youngest old man in the fucking world, and then he started a company with his face as the logo of the company. Do you remember? At some point, East India Comedy was Saurabh's face.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, my special is called Walking on Broken Das, but like, fucking, that's indulgence, bro. It was like a black and white Saurabh. I'm like, he did that shit, dude.
That's also very, very true. What are your favorite fiction books? That's from Vivek. Yeah, what are your favorite fiction? I know you're a huge Sherlock. Oh, actually, you know what? Fuck that. Just tell us about the Sherlock Holmes fandom, man. You're like the biggest Sherlock Holmes fan that I know. Okay, this is the thing I realized about Veer when I start. Like to the point where, and I have to tell this story. एक बार Veer ऐसा pipe लेके आता है, ठीक है, घर पे. And for 1 second, I'm just like, what a pretentious fucker, okay? And then he's all like, no, 1 sec, you don't understand. He breaks it down. He's like, you don't understand, okay? I love Sherlock Holmes. I really, really love. To the point where, again, I go to the UK with Veer, and you're thinking, fucking rockstar baller comedian का UK जा रहा है. कहाँ जाएंगे? हम कहाँ party करेंगे? And he's like, guys, हम Sherlock Holmes Museum जा रहे हैं. And I'm like, all right, this guy's all right. This guy is all right.
And then we went to the Fringe Festival, you, me, and Tanmay.
Yes,
and
we did.
We are rockstar comedians from India. We're going to be amazing, right? पहली रात 7 लोग देखने के लिए. Here, hashtag औकात, 3 of us are on the street. Comedy from India.
Please come see our show. Please. Tell me that Fringe experience was educational as fuck, right? Tell me about what it was like for you, because I was in a very different place in my life, like back then. But you were, I feel like for you, that was a crazy transformational experience. And this, before I ask the question, I just want to say, if there's anybody I've seen work their fucking ass off, like at a festival, it's Veer at Fringe. Like he said, we got there on the first day, we didn't know anything about the festival. We had one like venue that was in the middle of nowhere behind a sports
like
bar
sewage.
And smelled like sewage. And the only people who came to that venue actually were coming for that Titan Night show that was after us, who was like some magician, ventriloquist guy. And just to get people to come, I remember we pounded, like you said, we were standing in the cold every day, literally putting our tickets into people's hands for free. You'd be practicing, you'd be doing that all day. You do the 1 hour show, you brought the energy. How is that Fringe experience for you? Because the thing I also remember is we'd go and we'd watch these shows where we'd see people who were like light years ahead of the stuff that was going on in India. And again, that time also remember you had no ego. I remember you coming out of some of those shows broken, literally. Like just being like, I need to go home and think about my life. Like,
so firstly, there are no Indians in Scotland. I think
correct.
we
Yeah,
learned
it's
that.
true.
So,
It's true. We did.
You know, so that's what's lovely about the Fringe is it's a proper British crowd. There's no safety net. So all your Indian references go out of the window. All of your like, array, I don't have to explain this goes out of the window. And then you're just kind of only standing on the basis of observational comedy.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't go political. You can't go this. You can't go that. So it's just behavioral observational stuff. So that's what I like about it. So sometimes I'll write a show in India and 3 months later you've toured it in India. You're feeling damn good about it. You take it to the Fringe and the Fringe will slap you around.
Yeah.
Be like, no, this doesn't work.
Kuch nahi hai ye, kuch nahi hai.
Yeah. So that's what I like about the Fringe. And also, dude, it's nice to just hang with other comics and drink cider after a show and watch like some of the best performances in the world.
Yeah, definitely some of the best performers in the world. Like, man, I'll never forget that, 10 days in Edinburgh. Like, I don't think ever. Like, if there's one thing that keeps my ego in check, it's I just think back to some of those shows that we saw and I'm like, nahi hai wo. Matlab, wo nahi hai. You're nothing.
And
like,
you, Tanmay, the sound guy, and one more guy stayed in like one dormitory, no?
Yeah. We literally, there were like 6 of us staying in like this one dorm. It was freaking crazy.
Like fuck all Hogwarts, Gryffindor.
Yeah, it was under the stairs. Literally, it was under the stairs that we were staying. Ankur wants to know, in a world where so much content is available at your audience's fingertips, how do you make sure that you stay original?
I don't know. That's an interesting one. Like I don't watch a lot of stuff, so that's one. Like I don't know about you. Like I don't watch a lot of stand-up.
Me neither. I don't watch a lot of stand-up because I feel like the second I start watching stand-up, I start thinking like the last 3 comics that I watched, basically.
Yeah, suddenly you're like, this sounds like Bill Burr or whatever.
Yes,
right?
always that happens tonally. So I don't watch. Like a lot of people are like, oh, have you seen this? And they're very surprised when I'm like, no, but I'm like, you don't understand. You can't do that beyond the point.
So I don't watch a lot of stand-up. What I like now is 150 crore movie and my Netflix special or my whatever are the same size box on a platform. Like how democratic is that?
Yeah, true.
Like I'm not competing for your marketing money. I'm not competing for hoardings. We're the same size box and we're just competing for your time.
Sure.
That's it, right? And I can make sure that I fill my 1 hour with as much dynamics and as many jokes that I might be able to hold you better than that 150 crore movie. I might be able to keep your attention. So I kind of keep that in mind where I'm like, okay, I now have the same shot as an Akshay Kumar movie. I have the same shot as a Shah Rukh Khan movie. So how can I entertain people enough in that 1 hour that they're giving me? Like that's what I think about.
That's pretty awesome, man. Just gonna read out some quick super chats, not question. Rahul says, been a fan of Veer since Lo Kar Lo Baat. Mastizade aside, his growth as a comedian and entertainer has been inspiring. Lo Kar Lo Baat was a lifetime ago. For people who might not know, please tell people about Lo Kar Lo Baat.
Baat was the Hindi version of Whose Line Is It Anyway? Judged by Saurabh Shukla. And it was a Hindi show. And I didn't know Hindi. So
good start.
It was me doing Lagan. Basically, every sketch was me doing Lagan in the thing. And then Rajesh Balwani and Tarana and Jimmy Moses and a bunch of other guys basically taught me Hindi in 3 months on this show. I just come back from the States. Great.
Wow. That's freaking cool. Loved your show at the New York Comedy Festival. Is the story about you going back to the restaurant in Chicago true? Mad respect. Yeah,
it is. I used to be a dishwasher in Chicago. I went back 15 years later when the college I used to go to gave me like an honorary doctorate, and I tipped them, like I randomly tipped a waiter something like $250.
Nice.
Because I know what it's like to work at that restaurant.
Sure.
So yeah, that's a true story.
That's a fucking cool story.
Yeah.
Sarab Jot says, love Veer's comedy. I want to become like him someday. Saksham says, the Tonight Show starring Veer Das Indian version, question mark. And another question from the chat, which is, how tall is Conan? Tell us about fucking Conan.
Conan is 9 feet taller than me, so that makes him it was going so well, dude. Like fucking, you do Conan, right? And the big culture with American talk show these things is, if the host invites you over,
right,
that's a really good sign. Like that's a legacy from Johnny Carson, right? You do the spot, and if you were good, Johnny'd be like, come join us on the couch. And then they'd go to commercial, but you chat with the audience and all of that stuff. And then if the host comes over and brings you to the couch, that's the best sign of all.
Right.
But most comedians, the host will be like, "Thank you so much. What a wonderful job. Give him a round of applause." Right? So you're very nervous because a good late night spot means you'll make a career, and it did make mine. And a bad late night spot means you're done. Don't come back to America.
Sure.
Right? And they're going to telecast it anyway,
Right.
irrespective of how it goes.
Sure.
So I'm like, "Thank you so much. My name is Veer Das. This was lovely." There's a big round of applause. And then I see Conan coming over, right? And basically, like, he looks like Gandalf and I look like Frodo. And you know, they shot me kind of low, so aadmi acha lag raha tha, tall and all of that stuff. And then you see me going like this. This is basically, "Thank you so much." And then he walks me over to the couch.
Nice.
And I was like, if they had just skipped the walk and cut to me on the couch, how nice would that have been? Like, I could have walked off without the height difference. Conan is like 6'6" or 6'7" or something like that, man.
Damn. And how's the couch?
It's great.
What a great question.
It is so good. And then he had me back like 3 times, and the last time I was just a guest. Like, I don't think any other talk show host has done more for comics than Conan.
This
I'd
is
venture to
probably
say that.
true. This is probably true.
He features more comics than like a Fallon, more comics than like a Colbert, as guests, you know. And then he does these live tours. It's like he's just kind of put comedians on the map. So I don't think anybody's done more for comedy than Conan.
This is probably absolutely. Do more shows like Hasmukh. Are we getting more Hasmukh?
I don't know yet. That is an interesting question that you should ask Netflix.
Okay, people ask Netflix. Everybody message Netflix and say, are we getting more Hasmukh? Monav Sarkar says, tell us about the time you ate edibles by mistake. What? Is he just like
I
fishing?
messaged you, dude.
Is
Remember?
He? Oh yeah, of course. Yes. I remember this.
How long
Oh,
do
this
these
is
things
that.
take to
Yeah,
wear off?
I remember this.
I'm so old, Rohan.
I
Please help.
remember this. What I appreciated about that moment and the moment I also had self-reflection is like, how is this the emergency people call me for? How is this one that, Gandalf will know this one.
But dude, you were so great. You were like, hydrate, do this, do that, do this, do
Yeah,
that.
like don't panic. It'll be like a hell of a ride for a couple of hours and then you'll be fine. But
It's a bit of stand-up right now, so I won't tell the whole
That's
thing.
fair, that's fair.
Basically, like, I don't get high, I get high and horny. That's my thing. This is why, like, I don't do drugs at NH7. You know what I'm saying?
Fair.
Because like, I'm not going to be like standing in front of Divine with a hard on watching his performance, like, bahut hard or whatever. I don't like.
it'll be fucking thrilling, but sure.
So I was just horny and high alone in a hotel room for an 8-hour period. It was
That's
not fun.
Every tour.
That's every comic.
Every comic after every show
Yeah.
is that. What do you, so you, aside from just obviously being a fantastic performer, again, this is something I've known, you write a lot.
Yeah.
Like you write a lot. So what part of the process do you enjoy more? The writing part or the performing part? Because you're also a very disciplined writer. So tell me a little bit about that process.
I wake up 7 and 7:10 I'm writing. So susu potty writing. Bina daat brush kiye, bina kuch etc. Because like I have like 2 hours of flow.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
And so for me that's like 7:10 to 9:10. And I'll write something. I'll write a movie, I'll write stand-up, I'll write something. But I get 2 hours of like uninterrupted creative flow. But I like writing it and it'll be like 5 pages or whatever. And then I like the moment where you're going to do it at the club.
Mm-hmm.
And so like at 3 p.m. you walk around with it,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
And then it really changes. And then
Yeah.
you're like, no, paragraph becomes this one thing. And this thing becomes a tag. Like that's my favorite part of it.
The walking edit part.
The walking edit part. I
The
love
walking
that.
edit part is great.
And then 6 years ago, I started re-listening to my stuff, like recording and re-listening to my stuff. So then I like that second walkthrough as well.
Right. Yeah. Is
know,
it weird
when you go
listening
back
to
and-
yourself? I hate listening to myself.
I listen to myself too, but like I've heard enough types of laughs where I know the laugh now.
Right.
You know, sometimes like when you're early on, you'd be like, "Oh, laugh aaya, abhi mat bako." You know, but now you know what the laugh is.
Sure. You know that this is
sometimes-
just about got a laugh versus this was
Yeah.
like this thing. How did you feel working with Pizzas in Town fresh off the boat?
She's great. She was so great. We did an episode together. It was supposed to be a show starring me and her.
Okay.
Me opposite her as husband and wife, which is highly unrealistic. That is somebody who's very out of my league. In terms of like that's suspension of disbelief at another level.
Come on, stop it. Stop it with the humility. Stop it. Stop it.
And we shot it, and it was fun. It was a great 4-5 day shoot. The episode turned out all right, but like I wish she acts there more because like her comedy timing is like
Her comedy
on.
timing is very, very good. Yes.
Yeah. And also like for American sitcom timing, because American sitcom timing is a little bit like it's
Yeah.
shaky.
Yeah.
It's like very
it
written
is,
word joke.
it is because it's the wait, it's the classic wait for the pause where the canned laughter or the assumption of the canned laughter will be
Yeah.
and sort
Yeah.
of move on. Yeah, it is true. Harshit Sandarbha, thank you for your super chat. Veer is such an inspiration for 5'7" guys. What?
5'8.5".
Hey,
It's
hey,
Harshit.
hey,
1.5 inches is making all difference
Hey
to nobody.
Harshit, I'm still keeping your 40 rupees, Harshit.
Yeah.
I'm still keeping it. There's how could you? No. Any advice for budding writers? Because you are the most disciplined writer I know. If he gives advice, you should listen to it.
Advice for budding writers, what I would say is rewrite. So even if you love it, rewrite it. And then show it to someone who doesn't write what you write.
Okay.
Doesn't write the genre that you write.
Okay. That's
Because
interesting.
at the end of it, all writing, even stand-up is kind of human connection based. So like for Hasmukh, for instance, sometimes a room can write inward, and then you need to step out of that room and be like, oh, I know you don't enjoy comedy, so read my script, and if it's still connecting with you at some level, then I know that that's strong.
Sure.
So like if you're getting advice, have it be from people who don't understand your genre. Be egoless enough to take that feedback, because they'll probably give you more brutal feedback than anybody else out there.
This is true.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's
That's actually really good advice. Could you tell us a little more about the moment you had with the late and great Rishi Kapoor?
Rishi
Chat
Kapoor
wants
started
to
my
know.
career. Is Namaste London.
This is true. He did.
I was a junior artist, and he kind of came up and he's like, "Beta, what is your name?" And I said, "Sir, Veer Das." And he's like, "Veer Das, you're a fantastic actor. Promise me you'll keep acting." And I was like, "Huh, sir, I will." And he's like, "No, shake my hand right now and promise me you'll keep acting." And like Rishi Kapoor, eye contact is like some serious eye contact.
Yeah.
what I mean?
It is
Like,
intense eye contact.
right? He shakes your hand and you feel like Tina Munim instantly. So they goes, "Ah, sir," and
Like-
I was like, he won't remember. And then I met him on a movie called Patel Ki Punjabi Shadi, where he played my dad.
Huh.
And he's like, "See, I'm good luck for everyone. Whoever I do that to, and I do that to a couple of actors now and then, their career works out." And then we made Patel Ki Punjabi Shadi.
So yeah, I guess what we really have to ask ourselves: was it Ivan Davidson or was it Rishi
Yeah,
Kapoor?
was it Rishi Kapoor, yeah.
It's not your hard work at all.
No, not at all.
No, not at all. No chance. How do you manage your hectic work schedule? Yeah, which is I'm gonna modify that to how do you find the freaking energy? Like you've been like on the go non-stop since the time that I have known you. So how the fuck do you have the energy?
I spent the first sort of 8 years without clout in the industry doing shit that I was told I needed to do,
Okay.
dreaming of doing the things that I love,
Okay.
and wasted a lot of time kind of doing that. And now I did 17 things today, maybe. I loved all of them. I didn't do a single thing that I didn't love, and what drives that is remembering those 8 years of just like
Sure.
doing stuff you didn't enjoy or like creatively did nothing for your soul. So I think when you figure that part out, which is like I'm doing this. I did a spot at the Habitat. I wrote on my next TV show for Fox.
Right.
I wrote on the next rom-com I'm going to be starring in at the end of this thing. I learned about cryptocurrency. I had like because I think that's the future, at least in terms of content. So I had like a crypto Zoom call. I met two people. I met Kunal Khemu and Soha for lunch.
Nice.
I worked out and I took a nap.
All good things.
All good things. Like nothing is bad about this day, So why would you lose energy on a day like today?
That's absolutely fair. Next question for you. If dark matter attracts and dark energy repels, aren't we stuck in a loop of Big Bang and singularity?
You need to meet a woman or a man and get laid.
Or it connects to the next question this person has asked, which is Indica or Sativa? I would say, buddy, you need a strong Indica right now.
Acha, these are strains of, no, wait. Is like Indica hash and Sativa weed, or is it, are they both
No,
just
they
different
both
stages of
can
plant?
be. It's a plant. They're just types of the plant, basically.
Okay.
Like they're both.
See, here's how old I am. I remember when Indica was a
Yeah, same. Same. I remember right now all these kids talk about Indica, Sativa, etc. Whatever. Back then it was just तेरे को 25 रुपए की पूड़ी चाहिए, 30 रुपए की पूड़ी चाहिए. Okay, an 18-year-old kid. That's it. Those were
Hey, what do
options.
potheads do in the pandemic here? Like, how do you score in a pandemic? No,
Get
you shouldn't
clean,
tell me, but like,
get clean, I guess. Like, get really clean.
it's the point, na? That at the end of the day,
Yeah.
earlier you go to some gully or something, or some weed dealer would send shit home. I'm guessing.
Yeah, or like
What does a pothead do in the pandemic?
I don't know.
How do
How
people
would I
date?
know? How would I know?
You're in a relationship, but like, how
I'm
do
in a
people
relationship.
date?
So that's the thing. We started. So we met in a dating app, and I'm not kidding. Our first date was like a video call. I wish I was making that up. Our first date was, dude, I'm not kidding, alright? So our courtship was like the most high school thing ever because it happened in the first wave of the pandemic. So I was doing shit I thought I would never have to do again in my life, alright? Where I'm talking to her on the phone. If it's night, I have to talk to her only on the phone. If we go out, it can only be for a drive because everywhere is closed. And I have to have her home by 9 o'clock. Because that's when the curfew
Holy
was.
shit, yeah.
It was the most surreal thing in the world. I'm just like, I'm 38 years old. How is this happening to me?
Like, you should have, like, for that, you should have just done hand jobs for the first year. You know what I mean? Then it's all of high school all over
Then
again.
just
you know?
yep, all of it, all of it. Just
And have like one
you got hand
Archie's
jobs?
cassette playing in the
You got
background.
hand jobs, like just
Or like,
yeah.
what,
Channel V
remember
hits.
those?
Channel
Huh?
V hits.
Channel V hits. Remember the love CDs that Channel
Exactly. Yeah.
V used to come up with?
Valentine's Day hits. Channel V.
All I remember is all of those CDs had Lionel Richie's Stuck on You. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah. Some Lionel Richie song was there.
Was
Either Hello
always
or
there.
Stuck on You was very very much there. No, I cannot bring my cat to the camera. The cat will do what the cat wishes to do. How often or not do you experience creative block, and how do you recover from it? And what is the process to like get your shit together? All right, glad you're asking easy questions.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Just how do I get my life together, Veer?
For me, creative block is shower. Like I'll take I don't know why. That's just how my body works. Like if I'm not thinking of anything, etc., I take like a half an hour shower, and suddenly in the shower, my ideas are in.
Nice.
Water.
Must be-
I don't know
Water.
why.
So that's the answer there. Water. Take a shower.
Yeah.
Basically. I hope that helps you. If it doesn't, at least at the very least,
Yeah.
you'll be clean. Like, at the very least.
5 years later, he's like, no, I failed as a writer, but look at this.
Look at just the complexion. This thing. This is an interesting question from Tavan, which is basically, do you think people in your position, and I will lump even my sort of self into this, do you think sometimes we get away with the stuff we say because of our identity and privilege?
I think we get away with everything that we say because of our identity and privilege. Like, I can't. You and me are both heterosexual, upper caste, straight Hindu males
Yep.
from urban centers and middle class families. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it don't get much better than this.
It's true. I mean, we're not bulletproof, but we're at the very least more bullet resistant than some people. This is for sure in this country. So.
And
yeah.
you know, I think the real question is beyond acknowledgement of it, what gets done with it.
Right.
Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
to
yeah.
put ourselves on any pedestals or anything.
No,
like that.
no, for sure.
But it's one thing to preface comedy with privilege, right? Which I think a
Right.
lot of us do. To say, yo, my perspective is informed by privilege that I've grown up with, and that's fine. That's an interesting thing to put out there, which I know you do, and I know I try and do, and I know a lot of comics do. But then, yeah, when I see like what happens to like younger comics who don't have the same religion that we do, or don't
Yeah.
have the same privilege that we do, outside of, and what I love about stand-up is, and you know this, publicly we don't, you know, tom it too much, but we come through for each other, right? Privately, we all help
Of
each
course,
other,
of course,
right?
of course,
There's
of course.
legally, financially, we all help each other.
Yeah, of course.
You know, like, so I know people got my back and people know that comics have their back in this scene. But publicly, what do you do so then does that mean people with more privilege, it is upon us to talk about these issues because people with less privilege cannot?
Mm-hmm.
Is that something to think about? I don't know yet. You know, it's evolving.
I think so. I think you're right. I think in some way, because you say, I don't want to say that we have a duty to, etc., whatever. Also,
No.
Kuranda said it also casts us as saviors that we are definitively not, right?
No.
Like in any way. Like I don't want to even for 1 second sort of do that. But at the same time, yeah, you're right. Where it's like if at the very least you are going to be able to, even within the negative comments and the this and the that, if people are actually going to listen a little bit, then I guess we should, right? Like, I mean,
it doesn't have to be through our art form, right?
Sure,
That's,
of course.
because our art form, you have to make people laugh. That's it. That's all that matters, right?
I'm really sorry. Saurabh Pant has just sent 100 rupee super chat saying this is how much I got paid to open for Veer.
And it's about 90 rupees too much.
1 second. Saurabh Pant, I am WhatsApping you the link if you would like to join. Let Doodh Ka
Please
Doodh,
come,
Pani Ka
Saurabh Pant.
Pani happen. I am sending Saurabh Pant link.
He has to tell the joke, all right, if he comes. Like, because I'm not going to do Pant's material, but he has to tell the fucking joke.
Done. I have sent it to Saurabh. Saurabh, I have sent you the Zoom link. If you would like to join, please feel free to join whenever you would like to join. It's great. How did you get your break in Bollywood? Your Delhi Belly was first film? No, 1 sec. No, of course it wasn't. Mumbai Salsa. Tell us about Mumbai Salsa.
So I knew I wouldn't make it with the auditioning gang at Aram Nagar, right? Because all those guys look like Greek gods and are, 6 feet tall. So I spent all my money on designing a DVD with my new stand-up special called Viagra.
I remember this, and I just want to
Yeah.
point out that DVD has one of the greatest DVD intros that I've seen in my life,
Yeah,
where you're just constantly berating the audience for like 20 minutes. That was great. That was one hell of a DVD
And
intro.
I gave it to every video library between Bandra and Andheri.
Okay.
And Vikram Bhatt rented it.
Okay.
And he called me one day, he's like, "Main tere ko hero banayega."
Amazing.
Literally. So skipped everything and got Mumbai Salsa. Yeah. Because of one DVD.
That's freaking wild. So the lesson here is, guys, just leave your DVDs at random places in the city. Just leave your DVDs in places, and who knows, maybe things will work out. How do you realize when you've completed a story, a poem, or a narrative, and now you don't have to add any new lines to it? Is that even a process, or is there just a point where you go, I have to abandon this?
No,
and
I think
move
you're
on?
on the news. An actress calls you a terrorist. Like, that's usually when you're like, yeah, I think this piece is done.
I think we have resolved ourselves to one India, guys. I would like to say there's only one.
No,
India.
I don't know. I think you can keep doing a bit forever. Like, you really can. You can keep tinkering with it forever.
Fair.
But if you'll know instinctually when you're not enjoying doing it so much, the audience will not enjoy it as much either.
Sure.
Like, you gotta throw it away at some point.
Yeah, there's a point where you start phoning it in and you're just like, never again.
Yeah.
Avinash says, we loved your specials on Netflix. For India was a rare comedy special that everyone in my family enjoyed together. Enjoy how relatable it was for all of us. Jamin wants to know, how was your experience shooting for Whiskey Cavalier?
It was great, man. I got to play like because usually Indian guys, we play like tech guys and this and that. So to play a weapons expert and like fire guns and wear sharp suits kind of on a nice production where you're blowing up helicopters and like super spy stuff, etc. was damn good fun. And the American accent is tough to do for like 6 months because it's and sometimes when we act in English, we start to talk up.
Yes.
And like this, like
oh my God. Yes.
So, just being natural with them was a tough journey, but like the geeky stuff of it, like firing guns and rockets and missiles and all of that stuff, that was banging. That was great.
That's just amazing, man. Wait, I'm going to go through for more questions here. Well, I have a few, but I should do... Oh, Saurabh Pant is saying putting kids to bed. So, going to try and come. Saurabh Pant with the parent issue. He's saying putting the kids to bed and coming. But I'm guessing he'll show up at any point.
He spent 100 rupees and put 2 kids to bed.
Yeah,
classic dad move.
Classic dad move. Well done, Saurabh Pant. Who were your inspirations when you started comedy?
George Carlin, Eddie Izzard, Richard Pryor.
Any specific specials that you would like to recommend from them?
George Carlin, anything but the last 2 specials.
Okay.
Eddie Izzard, Dressed to Kill.
Okay.
Richard Pryor, Live in Concert. Those are the 3 best specials, I think.
There we go. So those are 3 specials now that you have to watch, people. Where do you buy your hats? Do you have a specific hat store?
Hats.com. I'm not even kidding. That's where I buy them.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
There's a hats.com?
There's a hats.com. And it's they sell hats.
Holy fuck, that legit sounds like a punchline. That's great.
Like the guy who asked that is like, I want my fucking money back.
Yeah, I said like, what? Really?
Mera
That
20
was it?
rupees वापस दे.
I could have just
Hats.com.
gone to Google and been like hats.com. What the hell? Kunal Kamra, thank you for your super chat. He has not said anything. He has just given super chat. And he has now.
अपना camera.
Apna Kamra, yes.
Arey.
Kunal Kamra, yes.
Hello
He is
to
here.
you.
He is around. Ishan Ratnam wants to know, would the late night show format work in a country like India? If a late night show format does come up on OTT, would you be interested in anchoring? To take that question further, is that late night format just kind of done in this era?
Yeah, I don't think it works in America either.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's done. The disingenuous celebrities patting each other's back and playing board games effectively in front of
Yeah.
a crowd. No, it's done. I mean, say what you will about the information that he puts out there. There's a reason that Joe Rogan is
Yeah,
the
fair.
number one mainstream media watch thing right now. It's because it's authentic and it's real.
Yeah, oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. We have a pant incoming. We have a pant. Wake up with Saurabh clips is connecting to audio.
Bastard is promoting
Yeah,
through his
like
fucking
there,
username.
yeah.
Hi, friends.
What's up, man? What's going on?
I have a ring light and I have light. Dude, Kunal Kamra gets 4,500 bucks.
Yeah, dude,
man.
Kunal Kamra is feeling generous today. Thank you, Kunal Kamra.
Wow, I got on the show with 100 bucks. Kamra's trying really hard.
That's
Dude,
it.
your background looks like Jodhpur, fuck Jaipur. Where are you?
Well, it happens to be in a place in Raj. No, you know, any joke I make right now, I'm like, somebody from some city will send a death threat. So I'm just like, yeah.
Hey Saurabh, tell them the joke now, please. Tell them the opening joke. Saurabh's first ever joke that he wrote.
So I'll tell you, this is the first joke that I wrote, and this is verbatim what I said way back then, okay? There are two Indias. One India India. There is a second India, which is the other India. And there's a third India, where Veer and Kangana did a movie together.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Yeah. And then she called me a terrorist.
Life, it comes at you fast. What can I say?
Hey, tell them the baby joke, na. Tell them the
No way, dude. There's no way I can say that joke in public. Dude, there's so much of comedy, right? Like, where like somebody will say that, hey, I saw something you did in 2013-14, and it was horrible and whatever. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Of course
I
it was
a piece of
horrible.
shit.
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I was a young piece of
amazing
shit.
CA 10 years ago? Were you an amazing engineer 10 years ago? Fuck no. You get better at your job, man.
Yeah,
as time
exactly.
passes.
The difference is that our jobs are videos that stay forever. Like, it's
As
not
I
like when
said
you
that, I
were a
just
shit
realized-
engineer, you were like, you built a shit bridge that fell over, and now you'll build a better bridge. That's not how it
By the way,
works. Like,
both professions that I mentioned, you were probably better at them 10 years ago than you were right now.
this
Just
is
so you know.
absolutely true.
Like, fresh out of
Ouch.
CA and engineering, you were probably better and then technology moved
And
on.
then just, this is true. This is actually
Bad
very,
fucking
very
analogy.
true.
Yeah, and also I think until I met Veer, I didn't realize that, oh, this requires work or what? Like,
You actually mentored my first ever stand-up set, Saurabh. It was this beautiful shady meeting where I met Saurabh under a building, okay, literally. Where I was like, hey, I have to like run my material past you or whatever. And that was all like, you know, Veer said, I have to talk to you about the material, this, that, whatever. And Saurabh is like, yeah, meet me like under this building. It was like 10 o'clock at night, okay? And it's like it's like the most drug deal situation. I park under this building. Saurabh Pant comes, he sits in my car and he's like, haan, suna. Okay, and then, I swear to God, okay? And he's like, okay, so tell me. And I'm still sitting in the driver's seat, alright? So I'm sitting in the driver's seat and I'm trying to tell Saurabh this thing. And he's giving me all these like little pieces of advice and fixing it. And then as soon as he came, he vanished into the night again. And there I was again in the dark. And I don't know why, feeling oddly dirty but satisfied at the same time. It was amazing.
dude, but it was like, because I think Veer was doing amateur nights and I was hosting it. So I was
Yes.
like running through people's material.
You were
And
vetting everyone, no?
Yeah, and Rohan was one of the first few people aside from Aditi who I met where I'm like, you know what, just do your thing. Because everybody's material at that time was a variant of like, hey, I'm on Tinder.
But yeah,
Okay.
community name plus city
Correct.
location plus gali equal to punchline.
Yeah.
Or English setup, Hindi punchline interrupted by gali.
Yes,
English
yes,
tag.
that exactly. Kamra, stop giving me money. I have enough money, Kamra. It's fine. Relax. Kamra, stop paying money. It's all good.
Kamra, none of us need this
the
money.
first
Fucking
payment
look at
went
Saurabh.
through.
Saurabh has a glasses ka chain. By the
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
most dad thing I've ever fucking
That's
seen.
how you know he's wealthy. That's
Wait,
how
is
you
that
know.
are those headphones or is that a glasses ka chain? What is that?
What, this?
Yeah, no,
sure.
the
It's a
pink
glass-
thing.
This?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a glasses ka chain. It's not a 699 rupee headphone that I bought, which is actually really reliable, which is Petron. Petron, thank you so much.
Yes.
Subscribe to me, Petron, on Wake Up with Saurabh Clips. Exclamation mark.
Like someone said in the chat, Kamra, stop laundering your money through my super chat. Stop laundering your money through my super chat. Kamra, क्या कर रहा है? क्या कर
You
रहा
know,
है Kamra?
the implication here is that Kumar Kamra is taking cash to the YouTube office and saying, hey, can you launder this for me?
That's just hilarious. That is freaking amazing. Okay, last 1-2 questions, Veer, and then I'm going to let you go.
Okay.
Saurabh, I'm going to let you go also.
Yeah.
Soon. Saurabh, what was it like in general, just opening? Because Veer does this, right? Like, this is first time Noom also, and to his credit. But there's this great thrown off the deep end doing comedy vibe, like this thing. So, yeah.
So with Veer, I remember, there were the two things I remember about Veer, right? Because like, I think most open mics, you tend to perform at 30, 40, and Veer was like, just come do it.
Huh.
And I had written like 8 jokes for him in 1 year on a show, which he did on CNBC. And I remember that the producer of the show was not a fan of me, and I don't think still remains a fan of me, by the way. I don't think he remains a fan of most comedians. Anyway, that's not the point. So he wanted me out of the show, and Veer said that, no, that's not your choice, that's mine.
Yeah.
And I remember him standing up for me, and I was like, oh, that's a great lesson in like just standing up for people who are paying your checks. So I've not been paid since then.
Bastard. You had a company with your face as the logo.
This is true. This is
Like,
true.
you and Mussolini have had that. Two people in fucking history. What are you talking about?
Yeah, weird ass. You're telling me.
Weird ass is an ass. It could be anybody's ass. You fucking went Stalin.
But
on the wall.
today I want to know the truth, Veer. Whose ass is it really?
Yeah, whose ass is this?
Just tell us now, once and for all.
And it was a great logo also, by the way. The
Yeah, it was a fun logo.
logo was a fun logo with that whole. It looked like the Times of India thing, na? Like a crest.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, it did. It was very.
And when other people joined, the first demand was, hey, so can we remove your face from the logo? And we had a 2-hour meeting about it. The only person who didn't want it removed was Kunal Rao and me. And I was like, great, this is fine.
That's thoughts on comedians taking up and speaking about thought-provoking stuff, like Ricky Gervais on atheism, for example. First of all, is that thought-provoking in the sense that I don't feel like in an environment like the UK or America, talk about atheism is necessarily very provocative or this
Talking
thing.
about God, talking about
in
government.
2021,
I think that stuff
2022,
is-
I don't think.
Yeah, it's done to death. And you kind of have to work with the context of where you're operating from, right? So,
Yeah.
like, I mean, as early as the 50s, like Lenny Bruce was talking about God and atheism and all
True.
of that stuff. So there ain't nothing special about that. But, you know, what I'll sometimes tell like a Western audience when I'm performing there is a little bit of, they're like, oh, you're talking about God? That seems a little, and I'm like, fucker, come and walk a mile in my shoes.
Yeah.
You know, like the whole, it's a very fashionable, like urban thing to say, oh, where's India's Dave Chappelle? I'm like,
fuck off.
There is no anti-Chappelle dull showing up at Chappelle's house.
This is true.
All the comics that you lionize in the West wouldn't last 1 week in India.
No,
I
they
promise
wouldn't. It's true.
you. They wouldn't.
It's
So
absolutely
no
true.
different strokes, is what I'd say.
This is
I love Ricky Gervais, but this is one of the most ironic moments. Okay, I love Ricky Gervais, but he was at some, I think, atheism conference or something like that. And all of them, like, they've spent an hour and a half going like, hey, you know, we shouldn't adulate people and put them on this pedestal, especially people that are fictional and blah, 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 all that stuff.
Huh.
And then Ricky Gervais wins an award and everybody's applauding. And I'm like, wow, this is weird. Like, essentially, we are all idolizing somebody, right?
Yeah,
Whatever it is.
exactly.
Yeah.
And you'll find hypocrisy anywhere.
Of
That
course.
you know, like I love when Ricky Gervais calls all the celebrities out at the Golden Globes. Like I love that shit, etc., etc. But bro, you made $5 million that night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
Like,
Yeah. Of
let's
course.
be
Of
clear
course.
about
And
this,
you
you
came
know?
back. And you came back. Like
And
to
you
do
came
it
back
4 more
thrice.
times or something like that. Yeah.
So it's wonderful to say this is superficial and meaningless. This is cash, and
Yeah.
your routine
This
should
is
include
cash.
that.
No. This is also why, right? Like even when right now, like a Dave Chappelle, like again, like Love is Only a Luck. I feel like till today, Age of Spin, one of the greatest written
Yeah.
specials, etc. But when I see him walking around after his latest special, like selling out arenas and then trying to disingenuously end with, "Oh man, if this is what being cancelled is, I love it." No, fucker, you've not been cancelled. That's exactly
No.
the point. Like you have not at all been cancelled in any way, shape, or form. This is not what cancellation looks like, or isn't at all. So just yeah. Gurleen Gill says, waiting for your show in Winnipeg, Veer. So
Yeah,
there we
it's
go.
been
Do you have a
postponed.
show? Oh, it's been well,
So
shit.
COVID. Sorry.
Oh shit, Gurleen.
This
I'm
may
sorry.
not be the best
If
place
you
to
want your
make it.
super chat money back, then now would be a good time to tell me if that's the
Hey,
thing.
listen,
I can...
I'm going to bounce because I don't want to take away Veer's time under the sun, because the problem for Veer is that people don't give him enough attention, and
It's true. It's a real issue. It's a real issue anyway. But I only have one last question, Saurabh, anyway, and this goes
sorry,
to both
sorry,
of you. So here we go, and it's like a great question from Instagram. What's a thing you wish you'd never found out?
Fuck.
oh wow.
You can say right-wing Twitter. It's okay.
No.
Wow, that's a great question, man.
Great fucking question, dude.
I'm telling you, man. My Instagram peeps, the crunchy fuckers, they've got great questions.
And it's great because not only do I not know how to answer it, but you know that the person who asked it just found out some bad shit. like they're just sitting there, and they're like, "That's a lady? What?" Like, it's like something just happened,
I'm adopted? What?
Yeah.
Mom made it to the Panama Papers. I can't.
Then why don't you
Where's
give me
my
lunch
check?
money? Like, Saurabh.
I think
At least
Yeah.
within the American system, finding out that earning $1 million means earning $400,000. Like that's
Ouch. Yeah, fair.
that's a tough one. Here's what is tough finding out is that freedom of speech laws don't actually protect you as much as they should. In
Right.
terms of finding out the hard way that you don't really quite fully have the freedom that you do. And I don't mean like outrage. I don't mean like this thing. I'm saying
Sure.
legally,
Yeah.
sometimes don't have the legs to stand on that you assume you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a hard thing to find out.
This is true. Also found out hard way, Veer. Hard relate. Hard relate, Veer.
Yeah.
I wish I hadn't found out anything, because I think the more I learn, the more I realize I'm just so stupid, right? Like I think even when we started comedy way back when, a lot of the stuff, like I think you were talking about like privilege and all the use of that and all that kind of stuff, right? It's so interesting because like you weren't even aware, like when you're doing Canvas Love Club, right? Like I was hearing somebody say
Yeah.
that the ticket prices was completely unreachable for most people and all of that stuff, and how everybody who was there was essentially of a certain ilk.
Yeah,
And
fair.
I didn't realize any of that stuff, and so it was tough to find out. But it's like I mean, again, it's not something that I wish I didn't know, but I wish I'd actually known that way earlier, because I think there was a tremendous amount of myopia starting out. Like you were just like in a happy zone, and one part of me misses the fact that you were completely untouched by reality, and another part is like I wish I had been touched by reality considerably earlier than I was.
Yeah. Both true.
Yeah,
It was
and
a nice bubble while it lasted.
Yeah.
It was, but like going off of what you said, like I remember for the longest time, it was just Aditi and Anu. Remember, like in the and then Neeti in Delhi, etc.
Yeah.
And I think like I had no idea what female comics were going through, like barriers for entry to female comics for the longest time. And then after a while, you're like, oh, that's why it was just Aditi and Anu and Neeti. It's because it was not an easy profession to break into. Like just these things, like was such a new scene. We just learned all of this stuff like way too late. I wish we had like, I don't know, better protocols up top.
Does
that make sense?
This is true. Yeah, no, that makes
COVID
complete
protocols
sense.
back then,
Yeah.
Yeah, we followed that shit. Have you both had it? You had Omicron, no? Even I had Omicron.
I don't know what I had, but I had something.
Nah, I'm hoping. I don't think so. I don't think I've had it.
You've had nothing?
Because I've
No
had,
Delta, no Omicron.
no, I don't think so. It's because I have a steam and sauna in my house. I live in my house, and I live in a mansion in Mumbai that overlooks the gorgeous Mithi River, upon which people canoe on a regular basis
Of
and
course,
sing
of course.
beautiful songs.
Come on, if we live in Bombay, we all have steam and sauna in our house. It's just called our house.
Hey, but listen, this guy, like Saurabh has the best financial management that I know. So you probably do have a
This
steam
is
and
true.
sauna in your
This
house.
is true.
Listen, okay, can I tell you this? Okay, at the start of the pandemic, okay, I'd love to know both your stories. Okay, I was so broke in the first 3 months of the pandemic. I had to borrow money from my parents to pay tax. And, and my parents used to work for the tax department before. So I'm like, this is coming back to you only. This is working out nicely. So yeah, I've mismanaged a lot. Yeah.
I mean, you also got 2 kids, dude. Like,
Correct, yeah.
like if there's any excuse for not having money, it's like, bro,
This is true.
I have 2 kids.
This is true.
In Mumbai. Like, that's fair.
This is absolutely true and fair, Saurabh. On that
This was
note,
painted by my tears. Yeah.
Huh?
this was painted by your tears.
By my tears.
and the 2 cupboards are all the cash he
Yeah,
has.
that's it.
Like, and these 2.
Listen, depending on the note, that's not a bad amount of cash to have.
That's true, actually. It's not a bad amount of cash to have at all. Like, but on that note, wishing you all the best, Saurabh Pant, with cash flow issues
Yeah, thank you so much.
in the
man.
future. And thank you so much for joining us, Veer Das, and for the surprise entry, Saurabh Pant. Veer, thank you. It has been a
Thanks,
pleasure.
man.
Any announcements? Do you have anything specific coming up that either of you would like to announce here on this stream?
I come from 6. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna go on tour starting March in the US. So it's veerdas.in and it's 18 cities in the US. So please check that out. Canada's been pushed, so it's
Alright.
probably gonna get pushed to like June.
Okay.
And May onwards, I will be touring India. So yeah,
Wow.
All right. And you're doing spots in Mumbai this week?
I'm doing spots in Mumbai this week. They're all sold out, but I'll probably
fair.
add some more. I'll be at the Habitat Center. Saurabh, you coming?
Yeah, I'm coming on 4 of the dates where I'm delaying my own show to come for your show.
Nice.
So Saurabh's
Nice.
gonna come do some time. Rohan, if you're up for it, come do some time.
Yeah, sure. I'll come one of the days for sure. Why not? Saurabh, any
Okay.
announcements?
I have nothing. I have a whole tour set up in Czechoslovakia, and that's been
Nice.
sold out. It got sold
Nice.
out in 1998, and we're still setting it. So I'm just doing trial shows pretty much everywhere in Mumbai. I just came back from Bangalore, which is quite a fascinating experience. Because I did a show the day after 35,000 new Omicron cases had come in.
Nice.
And I
Great
was like,
environment to
my-
do comedy.
Holy shit, should I cancel this? And then people are messaging me saying, no, sir, we really need your comedy, It's the most important part of our lives. Nobody said that, but I just...
But you heard it. That's what matters. You heard
I heard it,
it.
yeah.
That's all that really matters.
So I was like, and when my wife was done sending me that message, I got on stage.
On that note, thank you very much. One last announcement. We have another stream tomorrow with Zain Mehman where he's going to take us through the design of board games and how they work. So I'm quite looking forward to that. Since he has spammed us in the super chat, Kunal Kamra also has a special coming out soon, which he has taped, which I'm quite excited about.
Yes.
So that will also be out soon and be quite amazing. So thank you so much, Veer. Thank you so much, Saurabh. This has been a fantastic chat. Thank you, chat. Thank you, Pishwi Gang. This has been amazing. One last round of likes so we can say we got to 4,000.
1 million के नीचे ना मैं accept नहीं करेगा. 1 million likes चाहिए.
And now I'm going to end this stream and go give Kunal Kamra's money back to him.
Listen, you got to cut YouTube's amount.
30%, exactly.
15% of OML and 18% GST. I know because I've done this 4 times before. And
Okay.
Abish Matthew gave me $1,000. I gave him 386 rupees back. So I'm just giving you-
Fantastic. There we go. Kamra, I will GPay you 14 rupees in the next 5 minutes.
All right.
Alright.
Okay, boys.
Alright.
Adios.
Thanks a ton.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Thank you, chat. See you.